All right, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out to tonight's program tonight. We have Karen Riley with us. She is the executive director and founder of the S.C.R.A.P.E Gallery. This is located in Cathedral City. S.C.R.A.P.E works with all schools, community groups, and the city government to provide environmental education and creative art recycling through field trips, outreach programs, and special events. So teaching children and their caregivers to be creative in their recycling habits and take care of their planet is S.C.R.A.P.E Gallery's mission. So if you don't know, this program ties in so nicely with our summer challenge, the theme of which is read, renew, repeat. And actually in our library right now, we do have some sculptures that look like the coral reef, and they are made from recycled plastics. So if you have not seen that yet, please come on in and join the summer challenge with us. For tonight's program, Karen is going to be speaking. She's going to be going through some slides with you all. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat or the Q&A. And then when Karen is done, I will open that up and then we will ask those questions. So now I will pass it on to Karen.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be talking to you about the S.C.R.A.P.E Gallery this evening. And S.C.R.A.P.E stands for Student Creative Recycle Art Program. And as Stephanie said, we're located in Cathedral City, California, which is part of the Coachella Valley. The most famous city would be Palm Springs. So we're like 5 minutes away from Palm Springs. So we work with all the cities in the valley. We work outside the valley, Riverside County, Southern California. If you have recycled materials and I have a glue stick and scissors, we will travel to do projects anywhere. But for tonight, I wanted to introduce you to what we do, some of our projects, some of our programs, and then answer any questions you might have about how we get materials, how we work with students, anything like that. So the first slide is kind of some of the buzzwords you might have heard of. Obviously, sustainability is an important part of what we do at S.C.R.A.P.E. We have a little twist on it because we take in materials and we turn them into art. And we are very busy over here in the Valley with the libraries because they're also doing the summer reading program of Read, Renew, Repeat. So we're doing a lot of that at the libraries around here too. So let's get started. So put my glasses on so I can read. So sustainability, it's meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of generations to meet their own needs. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Taking care of the environment for future generations so they have something to be able to live and thrive in a healthy environment. So that's what sustainability in layman's term means. Our mission is to address two of the most urgent issues, and all the issues kind of come together, whether it's justice, local issues, humanity, the environment, our footprint, climate. They all kind of come together. So we do it through environmental education for youth. And we engage with youth as stewards of their environment through a concentrated hands-on educational effort to build a culture of sustainability. So that's our mission. And the reason why we do this is we have a problem with trash or waste all over the world, but especially in the United States. We're one of the top abusers of creating waste. In the US, approximately 146 million tons of municipal waste is sent to the landfill. Now, the landfills are kind of the place where I wouldn't say trash goes to die, but it doesn't actually decompose. It just kind of sits there. And it's kind of the place where the landfills are baking the planet, because once those materials get in there, they obviously they leak no matter what you do, whether you have a clay liner, coverings on top, those leak. And what they leak is methane, which is one of the most potent gases related to climate change. So what's going in our landfill, 31% organic waste, food and yard trimmings, and probably you already, most of you recycle or repurpose your food waste. Hopefully you're composting. You're not throwing it in the trash. So you have some system where you live where they're separating trash from food waste. And the rest is 34% composed of everything else. And of the millions of plastic waste generated in the United States, only 5 to 6%, about 2 million tons, was recycled. And that's because, unfortunately, most of the plastic is not recyclable. It lives forever. So all of it matters, whether we're creating more trash, whether what we eat, how our food gets to us, how other materials get to us, packaging, it all goes together, and it all makes a difference on what's going on with our environment and the planet. So what we do is we take materials that would normally be thrown in the trash, that wouldn't get recycled. Maybe they're not easy to recycle. And maybe we could do something with it. So we get trash from businesses, manufacturers, and people save things for us. So they bring it to us, and you can see here's some photos here, and you'll see later I'm sitting in front of one of these. So we have a museum, a exhibit area where we do exhibits about the environment. Obviously, right now our exhibit is about secrets of the soil. It's a Smithsonian related exhibit in here now. We're getting ready for a big climate exhibit in the fall. And so we are obviously cleaning out and recycling what we have to repurpose for the next exhibit. And we also have an art studio. You can see where these kids are. That's the art studio where they come in. They can come for a field trip, or we also have days where we're open to the public where they can come in and they can create whatever they'd like to make out of the things that we get. And the things that we get are very, very odd. They're odd, and then they're the normal stuff. But usually we're getting them in bulk. That's the thing. So you can see these kids they've made that day. These are first graders. So that day we had a selection of we had I'd say hundreds of these little orange canvas bags that were donated. And that was from a store. For some reason, they did not sell. So that's why everyone got a little bag to take stuff home. We also serve as a materials exchange facility for the Valley. So not only do students and classes come, artists can come, people that maybe they want to work on a project or something, they can come and go through our warehouse. We have 2 warehouses. We have one on site at the gallery, and then we have one off-site because, again, we're getting so many materials that come in. And the thing that we always talk about is the 4 R's you can see on here: reduce, reuse, recycle, responsibility. So that's our main thing, the 4 R's. And we want, when kids come in, we want them to be able to recite the 4 R's, tell their parents about the 4 R's. And sometimes when I see the parents, they'll say, "You're the reason I can't throw anything away." And I'm like, well, that's a good thing to have someone say to you. And especially because their kids have learned that. So. All right, so again, we work with businesses and manufacturers, and we divert about, depending on the year, approximately 25 tons of trash from the landfills, local landfills here. And you can see we get a variety of materials. up in the left-hand corner, those are flips. Those flip off containers. We get those from hospitals. There's nothing, no medical materials in there. They're usually covers of a cover. And so the kids like them. They think they look like buttons, but we use them for creating mosaics and you know, all kinds of weird stuff they can create. And then you can see there's some foam. We get a lot. What we get a lot of is material, samples, fasteners, things from interior designers. We have a large community of interior design businesses within the Coachella Valley. So we get a lot of those materials, a lot of samples. In fact, samples are coming tomorrow, and I don't have any space for that. So that'll be interesting. And hopefully this one photo, you can see the bags. Hopefully they don't come like that. Sometimes they do, and you don't know what you're getting. And we have to sort everything. We sort everything before it goes out on the floor, because sometimes people put the wrong thing in there, and we don't want to put that out on the floor. We don't want people having to have any problems with the materials that we're giving out. Here's some of examples of some artwork. You can see that that is a slide canister, or I think that's what you call it. There was an old Photoshop that went out of business, and we went in there and went through their inventory, and obviously people don't, a carousel. People don't use these too much anymore. So I would say we had about 50 of those. So we worked with a middle school and created some artwork. And this one is based on the fires that they had in Australia. So you can see the green to the fire. The middle photo, those are liter bottles, and they've been cut and configured to become sort of cactus. And they actually weren't created here at the gallery. They were created by some artists in Argentina, and they were doing a tour with their artwork, and they gave us these. So we have them out for people to get ideas. It's just, they're painted. They, you know, they just use paint. They pour the paint in, let it stain, and then that's how they got to be that color. And then I don't know if you can see the flowers on the cactus. That's actually the top part of the liter bottle, and it's screwed in with the top. So pretty clever. And then over here on your right, that is just a collage with paper scraps. We get a lot of paper scraps too. Here's some other examples. These, my little friends in the middle here, they were working in the gallery, and they came up with some pretty awesome little art pieces. And then on your left, we have a selection of these sculptures, assemblage pieces from an artist, and her name is Loretta Lowell. She's a local artist, lives in La Quinta, and she donated a huge inventory of her sculptures to us. So we have a lot that we can show students and whoever comes in, and how you can mix materials and take something that you don't think you can do anything with and recreate that. So do creative recycling with it. And she also gave us materials from her warehouse, and she had a lot of porcelain dolls, but just the heads. And I was going to put those on there, but I thought that it's not Halloween, so we won't do that. Anyway, and then over here, just another crazy collage, just fun stuff. So we do small scale projects, as you can see, my friends here in the middle. And then we also do large scale projects. Our largest project to date is, and you can look it up online, you can find it. It's the Dinosaur Bridge, and it's a connector from Cathedral City to Palm Springs. And what we did was we did 24 mosaic panels because we received a donation of 10,000 pounds of decorative kitchen tile, basically. So we had to find a way to repurpose that kitchen tile. So we worked with 2 third-grade classes and a local artist, and we created these panels, and they decorate the bridge. And the nice thing about them is they're ongoing. They tell an ongoing story about repurposing, about being creative. Those kids can tell their kids, they have ownership, and it's very hard to graffiti tile. So that's another great part about mosaic. And we do a lot of mosaics here. So that's our largest project. Okay, so here, I have this here because I really like this little guy right here, because I want to encourage you to be able to look at something in a different way and try and figure out what you could reuse it for, repurpose it for. If you feel like you're not creative, you find another purpose for it, and really try and look at something in a different way, because really doing little things like that make a big difference, make a big impact, because if we're all doing it, then we're creating a better world. We're practicing sustainable practices. There's all kinds of things you can do. We have too much of everything in mostly the United States, Europe. We have too much stuff. We don't necessarily need more stuff. We need to be responsible for the materials that we use and the stuff that we have now. So that's the slide part of this presentation. And if you have questions, I also have a few, please feel free to ask questions, but I did pull out a few things that I can show you. Like, for example, what came in today. These are, I don't know if you could tell. So these are banners that hang on lampposts. I'm sure you're familiar with those. They're made out of vinyl. They're plastic, very, very hard to recycle, if at all. But the great thing about them is they can be repurposed. They can, you can gesso them, or you can paint right over them with acrylic paint. We use them a lot to create murals, or just for signage. So we're not going to the print shop and ordering more vinyl, more plastic. So we get a lot of those, and then we can repurpose those, have kids paint them, and then we can rehang them for artwork for the city. So that's an example of something that came in today. What else came in? Like I said, we get a lot. I have a whole area over here, which I will not show you because there's a lot. But we get for example, frames. We get a lot of frames. We get materials from other museums. Perhaps they have an exhibit, but they take all the artwork out of the frames, and they don't want to keep the frames, but they don't want to throw the frames away. So we take them and repurpose them. Every day is something different. Sometimes you get 20,000 googly eyes. I mean, I never have to buy googly eyes again. They're not my favorite, but kids like them. So if I can get them to talk about recycling and have a little googly eye action, that's okay too. Mostly what we buy here is glue and scissors. And then behind me, if you can see behind me, I should stop, right?
Yeah, if you want to stop sharing, and then we can get your picture a little larger.
Yeah, okay, so you can see behind me. So behind me, this is always here. This, because it's also Happy National Pollinator Week. We do a lot about bees and butterflies. We have a butterfly festival every year. So behind me is our Dia de los Muertos butterfly bee altar that stays up year round. And then we also have some climate related artwork up here. So we like to change the artwork out. This usually stays here. We switch it up a little bit. And then in front of me is our Dig It, the Secrets of Soil exhibit. And then we do have in our main warehouse, we have some smaller exhibits and artwork that we change out. And then I'm going to pull really quick ones just so I can show you another Loretta Lowell because it's fun. So that's all recycled stuff. It's all just stuff. And then also, we get a lot of cardboard. So we're going to be doing the Global Cardboard Challenge, which is in October. We're going to work with 100 third graders, and we are going to have all kinds of cardboard art that we're going to create. Again, bees, we do a lot of bees. And I have a love of Frida Kahlo, so whenever I can put Frida Kahlo on anything, I do. See, I have her on today, so. And these are made out of bottle caps. So any questions, or do we have any?
Yeah. So Karen, I'm wondering what came first? Did you end up here because you've always like had a passion for sustainability, or did you start working here and then it started kind of growing?
I think as a little girl, I was always interested in animals. So protecting animals, it kind of got that way. And then when I was in college, I was a journalism major, so we would write stories about that. And then I always dabbled in art. So it kind of just all came together. There was a place in Santa Barbara that was called Art from Scrap, and they kind of do the same thing, except they don't do the exhibits and all that. And there was nothing here in the desert, nothing like that. So we decided, it was 5 women, we decided that we were going to do it. And so we talked to our local supervisor, county supervisor, and they all thought we were crazy because we're like, we want to take businesses' trash. And they're like, what? Even the businesses thought we were crazy. But it's like, can we come look at your trash? Because there's certain things that we could reuse for art, and that your bottom line, you're not paying for that trash to be hauled, and it's definitely going to the landfill. So that's how we started. They did think I was crazy. Oh, can I go through your trash? Yeah, they did. They don't think that anymore. They call me. Can you take this? You know, that kind of thing.
So in the beginning, like you're at a good place now with these businesses. Are you ever having to get in a position like, I know I don't want this. You're sending over the wrong kind of stuff. This isn't
Yeah,
like
yeah. So at the beginning, I was kind of shy and I wouldn't, because I'm just starting out. But now I'm like, no, I won't take that. No, I can't take that. There's certain things. I mean, we don't want glass. I don't want aluminum cans. You can recycle that. That's easy. People used to try and give us newspaper, which, okay, sometimes, but no one uses newspaper that much anymore anyway. So, yeah, so we say like the funkier, the better. We want the weird stuff. We want the end caps or whatever. We want that stuff. We're kind of in an industrial area here, and there's a welder a couple doors down, so he brings me scraps.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there's a upholstery business next door. A lot of stuff from him. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so we have a comment here. I take cardboard boxes for crafting supplies to libraries and even PET plastic bottles to recycle into filament for 3D printing.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's good. I was just at the Palm Springs Library for Read, Renew, Repeat, and I brought a mini scrap gallery, and it was a teen program, and you're always amazed what they come up with. You know, we try and make samples and it's like, and then some of the materials we get, we're like, oh, what are we gonna do with this? But then the kids always figure it out. So yeah, it's fun and it's everyone's excited about the theme because it's read, renew, repeat. Yeah. So and then also tomorrow we're going to the Mecca Library. So it's a whole, we're doing all the libraries. So we have
Thanks.
7 cities in our valley. So,
Okay.
and they
So
all
when
have a
people
library.
come in to visit you, is it with the intention that while they're there, they're going to be doing a hands-on thing?
Yeah.
Nice.
So that you can come in and you can get materials if you want to take stuff home, or yeah, we're all set up for so you can make whatever you want to make with materials that we have. And we have all the things that you would need: glue, scissors, tools, string. I'm not big on tape, you know, because it just doesn't make the artwork look that great. But I mean, we have it. I'll share it, but little bits of it.
Okay, so we had a question. What about clothing?
No, we don't take clothing, but we have a lot of thrift shops here in the
Mhm.
valley.
Okay.
Yeah.
How are you funded?
How are we funded? We're a nonprofit, so most of our funding is grants, and then we work with some cities where we have contracts to do their recycling education, because there's a law in California, AB 939, which was passed, I think, in 1989, and cities and counties have to divert you know, a portion of 50% of their materials from the landfill. And part of that big law, which is this thick, is environmental recycling education component. So we do that for the cities too. We
Oh,
don't
okay.
do events so much. I mean, the events we do, like I mentioned, the Butterfly Festival, but nothing that's would be, everything we do is free. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay, so we have an interesting comment here. So I will read it.
Okay.
So while I acknowledge that there is individual actions that can be done to reduce waste, I feel that the predominant narrative for the last half century has been to pass the buck from the corporation to the consumer. When even many sustainable products commonly available for purchase are greenwashed,
Greenwashed, yeah.
and then they still end up being very wasteful in packaging anyway. So one of the only ways to address this is to hold corporations responsible through regulatory oversights. Otherwise, any discussion of environmental responsibility feels a little bit like a guilt shaming waste of time.
Okay.
Do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, part of that I agree with. I do agree with corporations, greenwashing, but I do think and correct, they're correct in saying that yes, we do have to hold them accountable, and we do have to do it. Obviously, we have to do it through legislation because they're not doing it.
Mhm.
You know, we as the consumers, we're the ones that scream about it, and then again, we get these products that are greenwashed, and that's not right either. So I think it's and we all have to do it. We all have to be responsible for what we're doing, and part of that for us would be holding these companies accountable. People that are corporations that create soda pop,
Mhm.
and they're one of the biggest contributors to creating plastic. We do not need any more plastic. That's fossil fuels. That's not going away. It's just a horrible, horrible system, a horrible loop that we we do have to fix that. We do have to fix it because
Mhm.
they're not going to unless they have pressure and legislation. So I do agree with that. I mean, they're discussing the global plastic treaty, and you know, we've been talking about that forever.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's the only way to do it at this point. I agree. But I think everyone needs to be environmentally responsible. You can do it by being
Yeah.
creative with your recycling. There's ways to do it. So
Mhm.
lots of different ways that it can be done.
We have a question. Are your earrings recycled pieces?
Yes, yes. They're bottle caps. Oh, yeah, they're bottle caps.
Very nice.
Yeah, yeah. I have a few of them.
So how many people do you have on staff at the gallery?
We have one, me,
Okay,
and then we have volunteers that help. Yeah,
nice.
yeah. But
Great.
we go anywhere if they ask us, we will go there. At one point, I was in Hawaii. I did a project in Hawaii. I did a project in Italy because I went there and then I found the school or something, and I had friends there, so that, and I did a project in China. Uh, I was there for some time, so yeah, wherever I can do it. And actually, it's easy to do. Like, again, if you have a glue stick and a pair
Mhm.
of scissors, it's super easy to do. Yeah, but just remember, which I didn't recently, when you're on the, because I always have scissors in my purse. I had them in my purse, and I was flying somewhere, and I'm like, oh no, shoot,
Right?
I forgot. Oh God, yeah, yeah. So, and they weren't like little kid scissors; they were, adult scissors. So I'm like, oh, I forgot. Yeah.
So I have to imagine that you amass a lot of stuff. So like, how
Yes.
do you, let's say you get in bundles of stuff from businesses, bundles of trash, and you don't want a lot of it. How are you like passing that on? Then are you taking that to recycling centers? Like, how is that?
Yeah. So, someone mentioned clothing, which we don't normally take. But sometimes if they're bringing other stuff and they have some clothing, then, I don't mind taking it to, one of the thrift stores because they're all around us. So that's not a
Mhm.
problem. And then a lot of times I go to the thrift stores to look for materials. If I'm looking for something in particular that I know we don't have in the gallery, that's what the artist I was talking about, Loretta Lowell, she goes to thrift stores. That's where all that stuff comes from that she does.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's a good source for
Right.
material. Yeah.
So in your space, are you highlighting things that like you and the volunteers have made? Are you highlighting things that people came in and made? What would you say the majority of the pieces are?
I would say the majority of the pieces are other artists that
Okay.
do projects with us.
Mhm.
Um, And all our exhibits always have that component where we're asking students and artists to create something to go with the exhibit, to
Mhm.
enhance that exhibit.
Oh, nice, right?
Yeah. So it wouldn't, like the one we have, Secrets of Soil. Yeah, there's information about soil and um, how it affects everything. But there's also artwork created by students and artists. So it has a nice mix of both. And
Mhm.
then once kids go through here, they go through the exhibit, maybe they want to do something like that. And then when they go in the warehouse slash studio, we'll have some of those materials because we obviously made them with the stuff we had here, and they can do sort of the same thing. But they'll come up with something. Like I said, they come up with better ideas than we do. They do.
Right.
I was like, oh, that's what you use that for. Okay,
Right.
get it. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Um,
I've had things in here that like we had for like a year, and I'm like, I don't even know what we would do with this. I mean, it's weird. I like it. It's weird. And then one day someone comes in and they're like, oh, this is what this is, blah, 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 blah. I'm like,
mhm.
oh, and then I can think of like a million things to do with it.
Right.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Um, okay, we have another comment. In my area, they don't accept like electronics or batteries for recycling. And so what ends up happening is that you can drop these off at private entities that do recycling for profit.
Yeah,
Fees then are a little unreasonable, and then that's perhaps what leads to a lot of people just dumping this stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We have centers around here that are run by the county that you could go and drop that off.
Okay.
And then Cathedral City, where we are, they also have every week you can drop this stuff off at their public yard. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's awful. And then they do end up dumping it. Yeah.
I feel like California is like very aware and like ahead of it and trying to be like,
I think we
yeah.
try, but you know, I think that we're not good at, which I think
Mhm.
in other parts of the country are ahead of us, is with the food waste. I mean,
Oh, okay.
so California just passed this, well, year or two ago, big monumental law about food waste, because food waste is a problem in the landfills and methane and all that. But I can't, I'm running into a lot of problems with talking to people about the food waste. They just don't think about it's necessary to separate it, you know, their trash. And I think other parts of the country, they're used to separating their trash.
Mm-hmm.
Before here it was just recycling, green waste, and regular trash, and not so much the green waste. They just would put it in wherever they wanted to put it. Yeah,
Right.
a lot of resistance here with the food waste, which so constantly we're doing exhibits about food waste.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, all the time. And schools, that's the worst here anyway. I mean, the
Right.
ones I've seen, because it's just there's a ton of kids. I understand the dynamics. There's
Right.
tons of kids and trying to do the sorting and all that, but it's like, oh my gosh, you guys, you have to do this. Yeah, yeah. And then the waste, just the waste of kids, they don't want to eat their carrots.
Right.
The little
Exactly.
carrot sticks, and then it's just it could you could give it to a food bank or something like that. Yeah, just trying to get them involved in the food waste part of it is a big deal, I think, right now
Mm-hmm.
for us. But we don't recycle, we don't take food and make art with it. So
Right. Um, can you tell us about like one of your favorite exhibits that you remember having in the gallery?
yes, we did an exhibit about coral reefs, and it was a big exhibit. We made octopus and squid. They were hanging from the ceiling. And then I went to a thrift store with another artist friend of mine, and we bought some old furniture and we turned that into a reef, like an old couch. We took it apart and we turned that into a reef. I have friends who knit, and they knit me. I know you probably, if you look it up on Pinterest or something, they actually knitted, or maybe they crocheted them. They were the corals. They made the corals.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then we also made corals out of coffee filters. We dyed them. And then we had the bottles. We took the baby jar lids and we glued it to that so they wouldn't blow away. And then we worked with a Girl Scout troop, and they made all this jewelry to sell so we could raise money if we gave it to one of the coral reef foundations. I mean, it was just I love that one. I did not want to take that down. I did not want to take that down. I still have it in boxes because I'm like, I don't,
Right?
yeah, I love that one so much. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and especially here in the desert, because there's nothing like that. And I try to do a lot of exhibits and things about the ocean because I want kids to get the connection that, it's all related.
Right.
Because sometimes, they don't get that here.
Mhm.
We have the Salton Sea, if you've heard about the Salton Sea, but you wouldn't go to the Salton Sea. It's just, I like to make them think about other places and how you can help. So,
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. But I would if I have another excuse to do that again, I'll do it. I'd love that thing. I should have pulled it out. Yeah. Have fish are like so great. My friends made these fish. I mean, oh yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think what else we did with that exhibit. Part of that exhibit, we had an event with the local theater and we showed the documentary Chasing Coral.
Oh,
So, I mean, we just did a lot of stuff with that. Yeah.
nice. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for coming out and listening to Karen's presentation. How cool that we got to see inside the scrap gallery all the way out in California. So I so appreciate you taking the time. Let me just see if we have any, we have a question here. So, and you touched on this a little bit, what happens to your displays once they come down? Where is the knitted coral reef now?
It's in a box under a table in the gallery because I'm going to reuse it again.
Right?
Yeah. My friend at one of the schools, she's the librarian, and she wanted to do a coral reef exhibit. I'm like, okay, I got it. Don't worry, I got it. So it just gets reused. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. We practice well, all the materials and things that we make for the exhibits we save because we can always find a way to repurpose it. I mean, some of the art pieces go back to the artist, of course, but you know, most of the pieces are reworked somehow.
Mhm. Um, oh, here's a question. Do you ever sell any of the things that the children make?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, if it's something that like a class wants to do that as a project, we've done that before.
Mhm.
But mostly I want them to take it home and talk to their friends or their parents or whoever about what they did and what they reused and why they made it the way they made it. So
Mhm.
yeah. And then also, if it's something that you think you're not going to keep forever, how are you going to repurpose those materials if you're going to take it apart?
Right.
Yeah.
So for everybody in the chat right now, I will put a link to the Scrap Gallery website. And that is just scrapgallery.org. So you can click on that and take a link, or sorry, click on the link and take a look at some of the things that they have going on over there.
And we're ready for Plastic Free July, so everyone can do that. That's global.
Oh,
yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So thank you again, Karen, so much. And to all of our patrons, everybody have a good night. And hopefully we will see you all soon at the library.
Thank you.
Bye.